is the tool talk for a bow saw, which is what I'm holding in my hand. A bow saw is a tool that's used to cut down small trees, about the diameter of my arm. It's also used once trees are in the ground to make smaller logs so that you can further process them for kindling and for firewood. So a couple things about this bow saw. Here are the parts. This is the handle, obviously the part that you hold. This particular saw has a grip for the dominant hand to sit in so that you've got some control over the blade. The parts that are covered by this orange protective covering, this is the blade of the saw. It does have a protective plastic sheath that when I want to use my saw, I'm just going to take off. If I am not using my saw, that protective sheath goes back on. So now the parts that you can't see when the sheath is on, this is the blade, of course, of the saw with the cutting edge that's on the bottom. So when I want to use my saw, what I'm going to do is, like I said, take the protective covering off, and when I go to use it, my dominant hand fits on the grip. I place this on a log. My helper hand is going to have a glove on it, and it's going to reach through the handle, grab the log in order to stabilize the cutting process, because the last thing you want is for this blade to go sideways, which it sometimes does when it's getting started. So reach through, grab the log. If I have a helper, they do the same thing on the other side, also a glove on their helper hand, and then we start the sawing motion. Once the blade is started, we can take our hands out and put them over here, because of course there's a nice groove for the blade to travel in, and you're not so worried about the blade skipping out on either side of the log. And of course we keep going until we cut all the way through the log. When we're done, the protective sheath goes back on, and so we'll just quickly do this. This just fits around the blade like so, and this one clips back on. When I'm done with it and I want to set it down, take a break, whatever, it goes on the ground, and with the handle to the outside and the cutting edge to the inside. If I am completely done with it for the day, then of course make sure that this is back on, make sure that the saw is dry so that you don't put it away and it gets rust spots on it, and then it goes back in my storage container. If I'm going to either pass the blade or move with it, if I go to pass the blade to someone else, it's always handle first with the blade pointing towards me, and then of course they would grab it and take it. If I go to stand with it, the blade goes in my dominant hand down to the side with the cutting edge down. If I go to walk, it's the same kind of movement. The cutting edge stays down and my hand is in the handle.